Welcome to Tea Talks, where young adult stories and church experience blend into a beautiful insight to inspire us. So grab a cup of tea, sit down, relax as we spill the tea. And with me today, I have my good friend Ethan. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us to come here and accepting being part of this video series. Why don't we start getting to know you a little better? Tell us who you are.
Well, I'm Ethan. I'm pretty much your average Joe.
You are a special Joe.
Yeah, that's true. I've been called lots of things, but it's been a blessing just to be here. Every day, I think we're given opportunities, and lots of times they can be misunderstood. Yeah. But
What do you do for life? How do you pay your bills?
Well, I am a teacher.
You're a teacher.
At the moment.
Yeah.
I've done lots of things. Even though I'm kind of young, I've worked on air conditioners. I've done landscaping. I've worked in tax offices. But right now, I'll just go where God kind of tells me. So.
Yeah. How about family?
I got a wife and a daughter. She's 3. That's been a whole nother experience.
Yeah.
A great one. I don't know what I'd do without her.
Oh.
But so, just kind of average.
Yeah. I met your daughter, and she's beautiful and sweet. She is very kind.
I could go on about her.
You can go on and on and on about her. How would you describe your experience growing up in today's society?
I think misunderstood. I feel like humans are judgmental by nature. It's like, we all know the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. But it's almost innate. So, appearance is a thing that people do go, it's just, like I said, it's something uncontrollable almost. But that's been a humbling thing for me, because it doesn't matter what clothes somebody wears or how they carry themselves. It's, you can't really judge. You don't really know somebody's heart. You got to give everybody a fair chance. I think that leads to being well-rounded, to be open to people. And a lot of times I get misjudged on that. Mm-hmm. But I might bring it on myself some, but it's just part of who I am, to actually be able to help people or be there for people.
How do you navigate when you are feeling like in today's society young people are misunderstood? So how do you navigate that?
It's kind of just my gut. I've been put in places that I just have to go with what feels right, and I trust that the man upstairs has got my back. I feel like I don't believe in coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. So just enjoy life day by day as it comes. No regrets. Just be real, be true, and trust that everything's going to be okay, and just take it as it comes.
So there's not much we can do. When people don't understand us, we just have to, especially if you're not doing anything wrong, we just have to continue being who you are, and at some point they might understand you, they might not.
Right, it doesn't matter. As long as you're true, and truth prevails, and then eventually maybe it can honestly make somebody else be like, well, remember that one guy? I thought this about him, but you know what? I might have been broke down on the side of the road, and guess who stopped to help me? Or, guess who did this? It's maybe help somebody else from being misunderstood or misjudged.
Yeah. We are going to, the reason for this series is we're going through this book called Growing Young, where A group of researchers from Fuller Institution came together to try to understand why we're losing so many young people. Why are they leaving the church? Especially, like, it looks like the research shows that 1 year after they finish high school, they're gone out of the church. And one of the topics, one of the things that they realized, the characteristics that the churches that are growing and they're thriving with young adults, they have the 6 characteristics. And one of them is empathy. Have you encountered a situation where, well, going together with what you just said, like you felt misunderstood? Have you had a situation where you felt like someone had lack of empathy towards you?
Yes. I definitely think empathy, but it's how we take things.
Yeah.
You know, it's either the glass half full or half empty. So how I choose to be half full most of the time, right? We're not perfect, I guess, but
did you have a specific situation that you can share with us of somebody just like didn't understand you and just showed this no empathy?
Well, yeah, I can. Music.
Music.
I'm a drummer.
Ooh, hot topic.
Yeah, black sheep, right?
Yeah.
But that kind of, sometimes you feel like it's, you get thrown into a fire. And what's the one thing that a lot of not contemporary churches, they don't like the beat. They don't like drums. They think it moves the body or whatever. I'm like, okay. But, you know, it's that's a misunderstanding. There's a lack of empathy there because, well, it's all about timing. Timing's everything, you know? And if it's a tool to be able to possibly, it's an outreach for people. Music could draw somebody in, make them feel comfortable. But if you cut that out, that's a lack of empathy, not just to me, but maybe to somebody in the crowd that wouldn't be there without it.
It is interesting because there is a very different attitude in the different generations. So you see the boomer generation and sometimes even the Gen X. I'm a Gen X, and it's funny because the Gen X is like it's a small generation, and we have some of the boomer and we have some of the millennials if you pay attention. And my boomer side before, years ago, would completely understand why you shouldn't have the beat is because it's wrong and it's syncopated, and you know, you heard all of that. Then when you actually take people that are professionals, that study, that have PhD in music, and they start explaining to you everything, you're like, oh, how much information I was not aware. And there's one more thing. You were talking about the beat, the rhythm. I don't know if this happened to your child, but my children, sometimes I'm grabbing things in the kitchen, you know, the pots and pans that makes noise, and my child would go.
It's a cadence, right?
Yes, it's almost like God put something in us that we have a rhythm. Everything, even our internal organs, has a rhythm.
Right, our heart. When it's not on rhythm, we're usually in the back of an ambulance, right?
Yes, when there's no rhythm, we're in the back of the ambulance. That's right. But this, so you were in a situation that because, and for some people, it's not important. For some people, like myself in my boomer side of it, it was like, so what? We don't have the music they like. We're here to worship God. It's not for me. It's for God. So it's not my taste, you know. So what? They should accept. Years later, I understand that it doesn't quite work like that, because for some people, especially, I don't have a single hair in me that is creative, you know, like music and stuff like that. I'm not good at it. But then I started learning that for an artist, that is something very important. So you had a situation where because of your passion for drums and music and things like that, they start pushing away. Is that where you were going?
Right, yeah. And but then it also leads to like hypocrisy. You know, the same people that say, no, you can't do this, then you might be after church. Like this happened to me. I volunteered to do, it was at a vacation Bible school, and they were talking, had a little meeting after church, and they were like, oh yeah, I said, well, I play drums and I've been playing for so long. You know, I'd be more than happy to come practice with you guys if you want to have that. And they're like, they didn't even entertain the thought. And this is right after church. So then I'm walking away, then they start playing a not Christian song, like they're jamming out up there on stage. Right after, and I was like, now you just said that it was, you know, it was like.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, I was like, man, what? It just seemed not, there was a bass guitar and there was a rhythm guitar and an acoustic guitar. And I was like, oh, a little confused there. But
I think what gets me really confused is that we do not allow drums, but we do playbacks with drums.
Yeah.
That really got me.
Yeah, they'll have sing-alongs and then there'll be drums galore. And it's like, you know, we're started small too. This recent, you know, I think the man works in mysterious ways. There again, I don't believe in coincidence. And I was asked to start playing the cajon. And
the cajon is okay.
yes. Well, I mean, hey, I'll take any drum, right? And that was like a foot in the door, but it was also like, I was like, hey, wake up, man. There's an opportunity.
Yeah. And that is the attitude. Instead of driving away, leaving the church, when we are in, we can help more people. Not that I think they're right for taking you away because you're playing the drums, but having this maturity to say it's more important for me to be involved because this way I can reach more people than not to be involved at all. But what do you think they could have done differently? Well, one thing they already did, now they asked you to play the cajon, so that's good. But back then, when they were pushing away, what do you think they could have done differently?
Not just say no, or be like, sometimes in deliverance of how we say things, it's not sometimes what you say, it's how you say it. Mm-hmm. Body language. Just be real with somebody. You know, is it like a personal issue that you have, or like, you know, symbols and stuff are in the Bible. If you want to quote some biblical stuff, well, are you just saying it, or do you really know it? Or, you know, I mean, yeah. Honesty, just truth, be truthful. You know, sit down and talk about it. If it's that big of an issue, don't just cut somebody down and say it's evil or that the beat caused the devil. I mean, there's things that you can say that, you know, and honestly, that made me mad. I know that's not a good thing to be, and it's hard to think me being mad, but it was just like a slap in the face, mm-hmm. almost, and it can push you away, make you not want to be a part of church or a group of people that is like, well, I don't want to be around somebody that says that if they feel that way, and then, like I said, being a hypocrite or just judging, like, why judge right there?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Emotions is okay. Sometimes we get mad. It's how we react that may become a problem. But understand, like, sometimes people, and I love what you said, is this really what the Bible is saying? I remember one time I gave a Bible study to this lady and she started going off the trails, and one day she read something about the scarlet color in the Bible, and she started throwing away everything she had in her closet that was red. So yeah, these things happen. What do you think are misunderstandings or misconceptions that the older generation have towards the values and priorities of young people?
I think they look at us as inferior, or almost like our opinion doesn't matter. It's a misunderstanding. It's a lack of empathy. You know, try on somebody else's shoes to walk a mile, you know, see how they're really feeling. You know, I think they're trying to help. I do in their own weird way. I mean, that's me trying to relate to them. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it does feel repetitive and like an attack. But it's like, how come do you only really ask something from me if you want some labor or something? Like, if that's the only time you care, or like, oh, you need your school bus painted, or stuff like that. Like I've seen that happen to fellow people in church, and it's like you only care, or you're only kind whenever you need something. Like, hey, buddy, hey, and then it's like
that is one of the challenges that we have in as leaders, as we're training leaders in the church, is not only including the young people to read the scriptures or to go take out the garbage or paint the bus, but is more like, if you're going to ask them to do these things, include them in decision making, include them, because otherwise they don't feel valued. You just described to me exactly how I have seen it, a lot of times where they're like, the older generation says, but we're including them. The younger generation say, no, you're not. And then that's the lack of understanding. And including them is not just reading the scriptures. It's including them in decision making and what is happening, in the church and all of that.
Yeah, you want to feel included, not used. Like, you don't feel like you just got untied from a whipping post. It's like, come on. Like,
I loved it. You want to feel included, not used. Perfect. What role do you think institutions like schools play in promoting empathy towards young people?
Well, I know me personally, I try to let younger kids feel valued. You have to relate with them. Everybody has an opinion, and then you try to show them too, like, hey, it's okay, everyone's going to mess up. That's a big thing. A lot of times younger people are intimidated to do something new. I guess it's natural.
Yes.
It's okay, but everybody knows you mess up at first. So I think it's important for older people or leaders to show some compassion too. Know that they messed up too at one point in time when they were starting. Like riding a bicycle. Everybody, I guess I shouldn't say everybody, but most people have learned how to ride a bicycle, but very rare, I'd say, did they hop on it the first time without training wheels and not lose balance. Mm-hmm. They weren't Lance Armstrong the first time they rode. Okay, we got to realize that. Mm-hmm. So it's human, we're going to mess up, but it's not really a mistake if you learn from it. That's how you get better.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like that. What do you have to say for a young person that is struggling because they're being misunderstood?
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
I'm not saying to let it make a fire in a bad way, but if you're doing something if you really feel like you're doing something to glorify God, does it really matter what other people think? If He's using you to be a tool or to be whatever it may be, do it to the best of your capabilities. I mean, He will show you the path. It's up to us to take a left or take a right, but just trust in Him and do what you feel is the right thing. The right thing's not always the easiest. Most of the time it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But just do everything with purpose.
If God called you, keep going.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't give up.
Ethan, this was wonderful. I loved spending this time with you, getting to know you a little better. I hope we can do this again soon.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime.
Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for joining Tea Talks. Keep stirring up the conversations and embracing the beautiful and the messiness of life. And until next time.